Hello everybody. Today is Friday, January 8th, and today we will be studying Unit 4, Lesson 21. And the specific title for today's lesson is Building a Dog Pen. And on our next slide, you'll see I've got our multiplication table here, and this is here again as a resource for you. If you forget, certain numbers when you do your math facts, then you can always come back here. Okay. In our next slide, this is a place where you'd insert a picture of your work. If you're doing work in your binder for any specific problems, you're going to be able to take a picture of your work and to insert it right here. Same thing for the next slide. Our learning target for the day, I can explain the relationship between a fixed perimeter and varying areas. So we're kind of going back to perimeter and areas. And they're closely, because some of the things that we need to do to determine the perimeter and area is going to be multiplication and sometimes division. Do you have a pet? Where do you keep their pet? Bowls, houses, pens, cages, and etc. So if you're at home and you are looking at this, just think about those answers. Think about where your answers are going to be. Because today we are going to be building a dog pen. Okay, so we're going to look at perimeter, and we're going to build a dog pen on our Jamboards. All right, so this is our next slide right here. This is just introducing our Jamboard. I'm going to show you in just a second exactly which Jamboard we're going to be using first so you can pull up the correct one. All right, so this is the Jamboard that you should have up, and I'll go ahead and read it. My friend has a dog and she wants to build a pen for the dog to stay in while she is at work for the day. She has 24 feet of fencing to use for the pen. She wants the pen to be shaped like a rectangle. What are the possible dimensions of the pen? Now, if you look closely to on this Jamboard, there are tiles. There are square tiles in here, and each of these square tiles can represent 1 square foot. You can use one of these to represent 1 square foot, and you can utilize these as you're solving your problem. Okay, so you can use this grid paper. Okay, so there's a few different possibilities, guys, when you work on that Jamboard to solve this. And I'm going to go back to our slides really quickly here. And this is the same as the Jamboard, okay? And this is just one possibility here. Now, you'll see that she has 24 feet of fencing to use for the pen. Now, that 24 feet is going to be the entire perimeter. And remember from our practice before, for perimeter, that means when you add all of the sides up, the total for all of the sides, and that's going to be the perimeter, okay? And it has to total up to be 24. So if you see at my example right here, I've chosen a dog pen that could be 2 feet wide by 10 feet long. So it could be 2 feet in width and 10 feet long. That's just one possibility. Now, how do I determine that is 24 feet? Because we don't see 24 on there. Again, this is just one possibility. I've got 10 feet long up here. I've got 2 feet over here. And let's just say that if I was to, since this is a rectangle, that means that this side is the same as the other side. So that's going to be 2 feet also. And this also is going to be 10 feet. So when I add all those together, 10 plus the 10 plus the 2 plus the 2, that's going to be 24 feet. So that satisfies the dimensions of 24 feet up here. Okay? So when you work on yours, you are trying to figure out what dimensions can you put for the width and for the length, but you have to keep in mind that they have to all total up when you add them all of the sides. They have to total up to be 24. They can't be more, they can't be less. Okay, so again, these are my possible dimensions right here for the one that I did. And this is our next slide. And I've already talked about determining the perimeter of yours. So you can add up on the first part at the top. You add up all the sides, length plus the width plus the length again plus the width. It doesn't matter which order you have these in, as long as you have two lengths and two widths. That's one way to do it. Or since we know that the length for the top and the bottom are going to be the same, and the width for both sides is going to be the same, instead of doing a basically repeated addition up here, I can multiply. I can say 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. I could do it that way, okay? Or I could say 2 times, in parentheses, length plus width over here. And that would give me the same. Each of these will give me the same answer. And in the case of the previous problem, it would give me 24. And remember, earlier in the school year, we went over area and we went over perimeter, and there is a difference. Perimeter is the outside of dimensions of a figure, and remember, the area is the inside dimensions. The area is the inside, and this is just a reminder that to determine area, remember, you can multiply the length times the width. So multiplying the length times the width would give you the area of any figure. And on our next slide right here, I've just got them all together on this slide. Area is length times width. The perimeter, again, can be 2 times the length plus the width. It's the same as really adding up length plus width plus width. And we're going to go to our next slide. We've got some fixed perimeter practice, which is going to be coming up on the next few slides. And the following parts are not going to be in your binder, guys, so we have to do them on the slides. All right, so we just practiced on 24 feet of fencing. So now we're going to find possible dog pen dimensions for 8 feet of fencing. So possible dog pen dimensions for 8 feet of fencing. And to help you practice, and we've done this before, but I've got color tiles right here that if you want to work with color tiles, all you have to do is click on that. And this is going to bring you to a different screen. This is something for you to practice on when you're working with specific numbers. And you are able to drag and drop your color tiles over to determine whatever dimensions that you need. Okay. All right. So 8 feet of fencing. 8 feet of fencing. What are some possible dimensions to to satisfy this? So let's go ahead and pause the video and you can practice on that. All right, so we're looking for, again, 8 feet of fencing. So that means that your perimeter has to be 8 feet around. When you add up all the sides, they have to be 8 feet. One possible dimension, and I've already got it right here, is going to be 1 times 3. 1 times 3. 1 by 3 is one possible solution. The width for mine would be 1. The length would be 3. So if I add up all those sides, I can do 1 plus 1 plus 3, and that total will be 8. Or I can say 1 times 2 is 2, 3 times 2 is 6, and then I add those, I'll get the same answer. So one possible solution is going to be 1 by 3. So what is another one? Let's take a look. I'm going to draw another rectangle here. So how about I do 2 by 2? So let's say 2 by 2 is another possible solution, because if I add up 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, that gives me 8. So that's another possible solution. Another way that I can figure that out is I can say 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 2 is 4. When I add those up, I also get 8 feet. So those are two possible solutions for that one. All right, so on the next slides coming up, I've got 3 more for you to practice on. 3 more possible dog pen dimensions with 3 different amounts for you to work on and for you to give the possible answers to. The first one's going to be 12 feet of fencing. So I want you to find the dimensions, just similar to what I did before. Find the dimensions, all the possible dimensions for that one. And next, I want you to find all the possible dog dimensions for 16 feet of fencing. And finally, I want you to find all of the possible dimensions for 36 feet of fencing. Now, I've got these little rectangles right here are telling you really how many possible answers that there are. So each of these blank rectangles should be filled in with dimensions because that's how many possible answers that they have. For this one and for the previous ones, how many ever blank rectangles you see, that's all of the different possible answers. And finally, complete independent work on your Jamboard and also complete 15 minutes of Dreambox.